Hey everyone, it's Chris here with Backyard Pitmaster. We're getting towards the end of National Hamburger Month, so if you've missed my previous recipes, please go ahead back to my channel and you can find what we've made so far this month. This week I'm breaking a little bit from tradition and I'm going to make some smoked crab cake sliders with Old Bay sweet potatoes. Okay, so first up I'm going to prep the Old Bay sweet potatoes. What I've got is some black pepper, I've got some Old Bay seasoning and some olive oil. And then I have 2 large sweet potatoes. Now normally the recipe calls for 4 medium sweet potatoes, but I can only find large, so what I'm gonna do is actually cut these in half. To begin, I'm gonna go ahead and chop off the ends. Now I've already rinsed these and washed off all the excess dirt and grime and everything else you find at the grocery store. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this potato in half. And then what I want to do is I want to actually make it slices or cut out strips, right? These are supposed to be French fries or my the Old Bay sweet potato fries. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half again. So now I have a working half, or I have half that I can kind of work with, and then I can just cut them into strips, just like so. Anything that looks like it's a little bit too thick, I can just go ahead and cut in half again and just make some nice strips. These are going to make some nice, delicious tasting fries. So those are good. Okay, now that the potatoes are all chopped, I'm going to put the olive oil, toss them in olive oil. So I'm going to just spread a little bit of this olive oil over them. And then just kind of toss them around and mix them up a little bit. Make sure that they've all got a nice coating. Okay, they are all nice and shiny. Perfect. Next, I'm going to add the Old Bay seasoning. Just sprinkle a little bit of this over them. Smell that Old Bay mixing with the smell of the sweet potatoes. So just want to make sure each one of these has a nice little even layer of the seasoning on them. Last, we're going to add a little bit of this black pepper. Just a couple of turns just to give it a little bit of some added flavor. Now that these are mixed, I'm going to go ahead and dump them into the foil pack. Kind of arrange them like so. And wrap them up. I've got a second piece of this heavy duty foil down here, so I'm going to wrap it up in that as well. And these are now ready to go in the grill. To cook them, I'm going to set them directly on the charcoal, about 10 minutes on each side. Okay, so now we're getting ready to make the crab cakes. I'm going to add an egg, some Worcestershire sauce, a little bit of lemon juice, got some more Old Bay, Got some Dijon mustard. Got some mayo. Got a little bit of parsley. And I've got some chives. So I'm going to go ahead and just sort of incorporate all this by hand for now. Next, I'm going to add in some breadcrumbs. Now I want to be careful. I don't want this to dry out, so I'm not going to go overboard with the breadcrumbs, but I do want enough. If you notice, it doesn't really stick together. So I do want enough breadcrumbs to help it kind of stick. So I'm going to start off with about adding about half. Kind of a simple test you can do would be if you can sort of make a cake with it. Without it necessarily falling apart on you or being super flaky. So we might go ahead and add just a little bit more breadcrumbs to this. You'll see I'm just doing this by hand. I don't want to break up the crab meat too much. I don't want it to be super fine and shredded or ground. I like these big thick chunks of the crab, but now if you notice, it's got a lot more kind of texture and holds together a lot better now that we've added the remainder of the breadcrumbs. So kind of do it by hand. Go by what your preference is, but you don't want to go overboard and have it dry out. So it's still nice and sticky and moist and has nice good consistency. It's nice and mixed. I'm sort of pulling up from the bottom and just continuing to mix it by hand. Next, I have my smoker rack, and since I'm making sliders, I'm going to use my small little form here. And so I'm just taking a palm-sized amount, just kind of forming a little meatball, and I'm going to drop it in to my little burger form here. So I'm going to smoke these about 250, 275 or so until they reach the tenderness I'm shooting for. And then when I'm done, I'm going to fry them over the grill. So I'm going to take my cast iron and put it directly on the charcoal and then fry them on each side to give it a little bit of crispiness. And then the crab cake sandwiches will be ready. Okay, so I'm putting these directly on the charcoal in there, and then I'll flip them after about 10 minutes. And next, we get the crab cakes on, and we're gonna let those go. Okay, so while the potatoes and the crab cakes are cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and put together a lemon garlic aioli. So I've got my mayo. To that, I'm gonna add some lemon juice. I've got some cloves of garlic here. I'm gonna go ahead and dump in. This is some cloves of minced garlic. Go ahead and dump that in. Got my salt. And a little bit, some cracked pepper here. And then I've just got a fork. I'm gonna go ahead and just stir this up. You can salt and pepper or season it to get whatever flavor it is that you like. All right, so it's been a little bit over 20 minutes. So now I wanna go ahead and check the sweet potatoes. So I'm gonna pull the foil pack out. I'm gonna check them for doneness. See that steam coming out of the packet, so that's good. Be very careful, this can be very hot. They're looking nice and soft. A little bit of char on there. Some of them are a little charred, but definitely looking nice and soft. So I think they're done. Now, if you want them a little bit crispier, you can toss them in an air fryer. You can also toss them in a frying pan. I might go ahead and just toss these in a frying pan to sort of crisp up a little bit. But they are cooked all the way to tenderness now. So how you want to finish them is sort of up to you. All right, so it's been a little over 25 minutes now. So I want to check the crab cakes. Let's see what we're at. Not quite there. We're shooting for an internal temperature of about 165, so we need a little bit longer here. All right, a little bit longer, about 10 more minutes. All right, so the crab cakes were done smoking. They hit the temperature, so now I just went ahead and laid them in the cast iron. I'm gonna do about a minute each side, just to give them a little bit of crispiness. Ooh, that's a very hot fire, but you can see that nice crispiness there. So these are ready to flip. All right, so we're gonna let these go for another minute, just to crisp up, and then they will be done. Okay, so we are ready. I've got some small little rolls that we're gonna use for these sliders. So to build the slider, we're gonna take the crab cake first. Then I'm gonna put a little bit of coleslaw over the top. You can use your favorite coleslaw recipe, or you can use a store-bought brand, whatever you prefer, but we're gonna go ahead and just put a little bit of coleslaw. In fact, let me go with the second one here. And then we've got that aioli. I'm making a mess over here and she's yelling at me. We've got that aioli that we made earlier, so you don't need a lot, just a little bit. Give it a little bit of flavor. So we'll put a little dollop of that. Then I've got the Old Bay sweet potato fries. And we'll go ahead and drizzle a little bit of aioli over those. And there you go. These are the crab cake sliders.